Time travel is impossible, or so we've always assumed. But what if I told you that time travel might not be impossible? It might just be really, really hard. Welcome to my channel. In 1974, physicists put forward a radical idea, the phantom time hypothesis. This hypothesis suggests that our memories of the past, including those of major historical events, are not actual memories, but rather a sort of phantom limb of the mind, constructed by our brains in the present to make sense of our current circumstances. Why would our brains do this? Well, according to the hypothesis, it's because our brains are trying to fill in the gaps of our knowledge. We don't remember everything that happened to us, and there are some things that simply can't remember, like the origin of life or the beginning of the universe. Our brains have constructed our pasts to make it easier to understand who we are and why we do what we do. But how could we ever know if this is true? Well, one way would be to go back in time and check our memories against physical evidence. But unfortunately, time travel is impossible, or at least it seems that way. However, there may be another way to test the phantom time hypothesis without actually traveling in time. In 2007, a philosopher came up with a thought experiment that could potentially prove or disprove the hypothesis. His idea consisted of 3 parts. First, you would need a group of people who had all lived through the same significant event. Next, you would need a traumatic event that would affect everyone in the group. And finally, you would need a way to erase the memories of the traumatic event from everyone's minds. You could then ask the group of people if they remembered the traumatic event. And if they all said yes, then it would seem to indicate that our memories are reliable. However, if even one person said that they didn't remember the event, then it would seem to suggest that our memories are not as reliable as we think, and that the past may be largely constructed in our minds. This thought experiment has some obvious issues. For one thing, it would be highly unethical to erase the memories of a traumatic event from people's minds. But assuming that we could get past that, it still wouldn't prove the hypothesis. At best, it could only prove that our memories are not reliable, which doesn't necessarily mean that they're completely made up. Still, it's an interesting idea that could potentially be expanded upon. Maybe instead of relying on our memories of the past, we could instead focus on the physical evidence left behind by past cultures. By studying artifacts and other physical evidence, we might be able to piece together a more accurate history of the past without relying on our faulty memories. So the next time you think about the past, just remember that it may not be as solid as you think. Our memories may be more like phantoms than we realize, unless you forgot that already, in which case, never mind. This has been my channel. If you like this video, you might also like the video on the simulation argument. Thanks for watching.